Hi, I'm Emmy Burnell with TennisCraze.com. Today we're here with Cynthia Carroll, EFT practitioner and success life coach. Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, Emmy.
So, Cynthia, could you tell us what is EFT?
Absolutely. So, EFT is an empowering human development tool. And what it does is it actually combines the age-old acupressure, acupuncture with modern-day psychological tools and techniques and therapies. It's cutting edge and it's really exciting for tennis players.
Well, so how could we apply that to our tennis game?
So with our tennis game, what happens is a lot of times, especially for those weekend warriors, we have these old beliefs. And what happens is that I'm not good enough. We remember the time on the tennis team when we blew it and we lost the game, we lost the match for the whole team. We all have certain wounds about perhaps when we choked, when we didn't play our best. And those emotions, those beliefs actually get stored in our body. Well, the good news is that EFT comes in and by stimulating certain meridian points on the body and on the skin, we can actually reduce and release those old memories, those old wounds, those limiting beliefs forever.
Wow, so is that something we would do the night before a match or right on the court, or how would we apply that?
Really good question. So the best thing to do is if you can practice a couple of days ahead of time, because guess what? We're like layers of an onion. So those wounds, those negative beliefs that we have, they get stored in layers just like an onion. So if we can begin releasing them a couple days prior to our match, we're going to have a great, powerful, positive outcome. Now, once you're on the court, you can actually even continue. And it might look a little odd to start tapping away, but what you can do, you can actually stimulate this powerful meridian point right here on the side of the hands by just massaging it as well.
So let's just say hypothetically that I choke on my volleys. How would I use EFT to help with that issue?
What most therapies are into, especially sports psychology, is talking about the positive. But with EFT, what we want to do is we want to go to that negative. We want to challenge it so we can release it. So what we would do actually with your volleys is we might say, even though I choke on my volleys at really important times, I'm just going to honor all of those feelings and I'm going to accept myself anyway. And we might start tapping on that. And as we begin to sort of let it all hang out, so to speak, we find that the intensity begins to drop. And once that intensity begins to drop, then we can go in with the positive self-talk.
Wow, so could we use this for other issues like maybe an injury or?
Great question. So due to the body-mind connection, we can absolutely use this for injuries. So my own son who had cancer, this is actually where I learned about EFT, was trying to help him from a psychological, emotional point of view battle cancer. So you can imagine what you can do on the tennis court. Now with injuries, you would want to, of course, check it out with your doctor, physical therapy. Always trust within. You need to have a really good rapport and feel really good with your doctor. But in addition, you can speed up that process of healing by tapping and releasing the negative fear, sadness, depression, and emotion that's taking your healing energy away.
So Cynthia, what's your connection between EFT and tennis? How did that all come about?
Okay. So many years ago, I was a professional tennis player. I started playing as a ranked junior, and then I played at Long Beach State on scholarship, and then I turned pro playing the Avon Futures Pro Tour. At that time, I never knew about mental training, mental conditioning. It was really lacking, and I think I really could have benefited from it. Well, fast forward years later, where everybody's using top-notch psychological coaches, and what I began to do in my practice was I started dealing with people that were having anything from depression to grief and sadness to anxiety. Well, in that, boom, entered tennis players because they were having issues with performance, they were having anxiety issues, they were frustrated, they were feeling stuck in their game, and they were having trouble sleeping at night. So what happened is I started working with tennis players, which is so true to my heart, And we dramatically were able to release them from where they were getting stuck, allowing them to play to their pure potential.
So do your clients usually come to you and say, I have this issue I want to work on, or do you usually have a process you go through to determine the underlying cause?
Yeah, so what happens is we always take people right where they are. And so as we begin to tap, it's amazing. It takes care of itself. People have memories. They remember things that they haven't remembered for so long ago. They get their own answers. So I'm actually just sort of a guide, and my client is actually the leader. And as we begin to tap, all the answers begin to come up from so long ago to be healed.
Wow, so it sounds like this can have positive effects across the board then.
You hit it, Emmy, absolutely. One of the greatest benefits of this as it pertains to tennis is you're absolutely going to improve, you're going to get unstuck, and you're going to really enjoy your tennis game even more than you thought possible. Your sense of well-being, it will also teach you a whole lot about yourself. And absolutely, you can use this tool. We like to say, try it on everything. So you can use this tool from everything from anxiety to depression to addiction.
Great, and how long will it take to come into effect?
Your benefits of this tool will begin working right away. It's actually very natural. So you're not going to see, we're looking for quick fixes in our society, which is understandable, but this happens in a very natural, organic, yet results-oriented way. So you might look at where you are after your first couple of tapping sessions, and you might notice, I feel more confident with my volleys. And then a month later, if you continue, that will totally explode on you, and that could very well become one of your best shots.
Amazing. So Cynthia, is there a downside to using EFT?
Yeah, so the only downside to EFT is it looks a little funny. It's odd. We've never seen it this way. You're tapping on meridian points because you're trying to stimulate them, much in the same way that an acupressurist is using needles to stimulate them. But it does look a little odd. So if you have to think out of the box, if you're willing to be open-minded and just say, let me see the results, it can absolutely work for you.
Great. But I guess if you wanted to use it on the court, maybe you could do it under a towel or...
Exactly, yeah. So you could do it under a towel. That's a great idea. You can actually even visualize the meridian points. That is powerful as well. Or this meridian point right here, called the karate chop point, is one of the most powerful points. And you can stimulate it as well by massaging it.
So you could just do this. I mean, this doesn't look that
unusual. Exactly. You could empower
Yeah.
yourself by doing that.
So what can players do if they want to learn more?
So I have been so excited about this tool and this technique that I created a product just for tennis players. And if your listeners are interested, they can go to www.excel2yourpotential.com.
Great. So check that out at exceltoyourpotential.com. And thanks for joining us, Cynthia.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Keep tapping.